Hello, everybody. We are back once again. Vietnam Crypto Insights. We actually was able to track down Lilac and get her on the show this week as well.
Hello, guys.
Oh man, yeah, you are a much needed perspective here. We can't do the show without the locals, man. We need the locals, the local young crypto heads. We need you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah,
it's
what
been
was
a
you gonna
big week
say?
in crypto, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very exciting, man. Very exciting. I'm really I was really elated. I told you it made my year when the Bitcoin Ethereum ETFs were approved because yeah, that's actually the bulk of our holdings is in Ethereum. Because I thought also it has a bigger upside, which it does now, especially now. So let's see if we can have the same level of hype and the same level of investment as the Bitcoin ETFs. Probably not. I don't think we're going to get as much, but if we can get half, I'll be happy. If we get half the
Yeah.
amount of investments pouring into Ethereum, that would be wonderful.
It's funny how it kind of happened, right? Like I don't know, like were you following it much? Like how
Yeah,
just
we've talked
kind of just
about it
happened
on
all
the
of a sudden.
show quite a bit. Matter of fact, when I was doing the show with Lilac and Denang, we talked about it a little bit. But yeah, they've I think the people that were the lawyers on those in the investment firms were pretty clever because there was there was a they reworded the ETFs. I don't know if they did some last minute filings. They changed their filings at the last minute so that they forced the FCC hands because what had happened, 6 months ago in October, they approved the Ethereum ETFs. So, Ethereum ETFs for futures.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
the only question was whether or not they was going to approve the ones for spot. And the spot, the only difference is that they have to hold a 1-for-1 ratio for however many shares that people or institutions buy. And so there was the only thing that was kind of like leaving a little wiggle room for the SEC was whether or not the people, the ETF funds were going to be staking the ETH. And so they removed all of that out of there. So, and then basically they forced their hand because how they're going to say they just said it was a commodity in October for the Ethereum spot or the Ethereum ETFs, the futures ETFs. So there was really no wiggle room. And if they was going to reverse the total stance on Ethereum, then it was not only be a weird thing to change precedents over a 6-month period, but it would be totally contradictory to a lot of their legal cases right now. So they kind of forced their hand, which I thought was pretty clever.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's
they forced.
it's kind of funny how it kind of just it felt like it just happened just all of a sudden. Like, one thing we were like, oh, there's going to be an ETF coming up soon, and then all of a sudden it's just approved. We were speculating about
Yeah,
when that spot ETF was going to come out, and yeah, it's just crazy. Like the market reacted really positively to it, which is nice. A
well,
nice
I think there were
20%
some
daily candle.
there were some insider leaks, but I didn't trust it because you never know what these institutions are doing. It might have been a fake leak. They might have been dumping on everybody. So I kind of like just like whatever. But I'm not playing the short game anyway with any trades, so it didn't really matter to me because we hold a lot of ETH, so I'm good. Either way, um, hello. Oh, there
Yeah.
we go.
Just
Oh,
wanted
this
to
is
bring up
ETH
the price
chart.
house. Either way, what
Oh,
we
okay. Yeah. See, it pumped before the actual news came out.
yeah. Look at that. Look at that daily
Look
candle.
at that, man. Oh yeah, that candle was crazy, man. I was looking at that the other day. I think it went up like 30% in 24 hours, which was unreal, dude.
Yeah.
It was unreal, dude. I
Look
was
at
like,
that.
wow.
That's a nice like 20% just in one day. And then the total move is like almost 30% over the next couple of days.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
like I think we're headed for about 18 to 19,000 this bull cycle. I mean, I was looking at some of the analyst predictions, and some go between 4 and 18, or 4 and 20, I should say. But I think we're going to be higher. We're going to be higher than way higher than 4,000, obviously now. But I think 18 or 19 is a more accurate read. And
Yeah, exactly.
the reason I say that is because there's a number of factors that contribute to the price when it comes to Ethereum, and one of them is activity on the chain and the level of DApps that they have. And I was looking at DApp Radar earlier. You know, Ethereum still has the lion's share of DApps. You know, I know that
Yeah.
they're growing on Solana, they're growing on a couple of other chains, but you know, the lion's share of the DApp and the DApp activity is still on Ethereum and Ethereum layer twos.
Uh,
So I mean, they're not going to be dethroned anytime soon.
can you see my browser
Okay, so
window?
No, I
well,
don't see your
I had
browser
a
window.
question, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
think every viewer want to know that what is your view about, like, should we buy Ethereum now or should we wait, or when to buy?
Well, I
Should we
think
buy it
that, you
now?
know, this is no we don't do investment advice, but you know, like I said, I think we're going to be heading up to at least 18,000 over this next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
And this is actually in my opinion, it's any time it's as good a time to buy now as ever. I mean, you know, long term, of course. But yeah, this, you know, Ethereum is actually, you know, one of the first, I mean, it's the first actually a smart contract enabled blockchains. And, you know, they've decreased the fees again, like for the third time, I guess. Of course, the layer twos are the ones that are actually really low on fees. And now they got the layer threes, which I think is kind of really funny. But some of the other chains, I was looking at some of the founders from some of the other chains. I mean, there was one of the guys from Solana. I can't remember his name, but he was really dogging Ethereum. I don't get in these intertribal chain conflicts because I'm an equal opportunity investor. I don't care. But I thought it was kind of funny, these bashing Ethereum's, you know, technical or lack of technical prowess, you know, and coming from Solana, I don't think he's kind of like throwing, it's like in it, what they say,
Throwing
he's in the
rocks at a
glass
glass
house,
house.
yeah. Because it's like, man, come on, you guys have had what 10 to 12 outages the past couple of years. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, although
Um,
I'm seriously convinced that, you know, Solana has some serious they do have some serious technological advances when it comes to Ethereum, but the problem is, like I said, the chain freezes. It's nowhere near what they say as far as how many transactions occur on the chain per second. But you know, given that said, they've had a pretty crafty way of generating activity on their chain and creating communities. I will say that they've got, and you know, you and I know a lot of the Solana super team here. You know, great people, and you know, they got a lot of nice projects on Solana. I wouldn't
yeah.
say anything bad about them.
Oh,
But
well,
what's your thoughts, Lilac? I want to know your thoughts. You're the local. We want the local Vietnam insights.
Yeah, I think not from Vietnam inside, but I think Ethereum really have a future because it got a significant move for crypto in the UK.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard that, like, London Stock Exchange is like proved to list one? It's called like Wisdom Tree Physical Ethereum, and it won't begin to list. I think begin of next week, and that will be like
What is that?
very
What is that?
impressive move.
That's a project you said?
Yes, the projects, the token called Wisdom Tree Physical Ethereum.
Ah, okay. So do they hold it just like the ETF funds? Or what do they
Uh,
do? How does that work?
no, they won't list on London Stock Exchange, so they will list it like a stock or just list on any centralized exchange, like any
Okay.
other crypto.
Okay. So are so you have exposure to Ethereum through this share that they're putting on the stock exchange, you said?
Yeah, and
Oh, okay.
I think that will be like before. Europe is a region that very hard for crypto. They
Okay.
got like many laws against crypto, and you have
Oh
to
man, that's terrible.
follow many rules. If you want to buy crypto in Europe, you have to pay some fine or some fee for them, and the
Hmm.
tax is like crazy. But I think this will be the first move of Europe to jump into the crypto industry.
Yeah, I think the European market is, I mean, I think UK is pretty tough. I do think that I remember there was some folks from Kanga. They're based out of Poland, and they've got a community here that they've built pretty substantial, I guess. Um, they do OTC, and they have a pretty substantial community. They have an app that does OTC. I
Yeah.
was hoping that I was hoping that they opened up here, but I guess they're having some sort of regulatory problems.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I do like before I'd come to Asia, like most of the crypto work I've done, most of the people I've spoken to in crypto are based in Europe and based in North America. And so like even now, like a lot of the dev work and other work that I do, the people I work with are based in Europe and based in North America, which, you know, being in Asia makes it very hard to organize meetings because the time zones are always bad for someone.
Yeah,
But yeah,
man.
there's a lot of work that goes on in Europe and a lot and you know there is a it's quite active the crypto ecosystem in Europe. Um
Yeah,
I think like the UK like has taken its own stance on crypto, which has kind of followed suit with what the US has done. But like the rest
yeah,
of Europe has their own kind of you know openness to crypto. Like, you know, like most crypto companies, if they want to operate, a lot of them registered in Malta because, you know, they have really, you know, tax-friendly environments, but also as well, for a long time, they weren't even taxing crypto. So, you know,
Yeah,
some
but
of those other jurisdictions are
it's my
quite good.
experience. Yeah, as my experience to work with any other crypto projects there, with small projects they can work totally fine, but with big projects and they want to go global, it's very hard for them. They have many regulations you have to follow, and for users to buy crypto, you have to pay a lot of tax.
Mm.
It's like I think around 30% or something. It's very high.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
that's
pretty.
why you can see that every European projects they want to list on Asian exchange or like US exchange, something like that. Then and I think Europe, why the projects want to stay in Europe because the resource is good and uh you can like easier to find like to get more capital from Europe than from Asia.
Yeah, definitely. Um, that's generally why I tend to work mostly with people in Europe and North America because, well, I just get paid more to I get paid more than if I'm working in Asia. Like
that's a
there's a big disparity between the salaries of developers and that here in Asia versus in Europe and North
come
America.
on, man. You know you can work for a Vietnamese company and make 1,500 a month. Come on, we'll pay you 1,500 a month. You could be the CEO. You know, it's funny because my wife works she still works, she works for an American company, and um, it's hilarious because you know the people here are sometimes they can be a little nosy, and so she goes to the bank, right? And these women are like, okay, you're making like over 3,000 a month. Are you the CEO or something? And she's like, she's kind of like in a nice kind of way, like telling them like, you know, really it's none of your business. But you know, but it's funny. But
Yeah, it is.
oh my gosh. But you know, it's an up and coming environment here, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why there's still a lot of companies that are willing to come here because they know that the wages are low, cost of living is low, and you know,
It's easy to
capitalism
operate. It's easy to operate a
capitalism
crypto
is
business here.
always yeah, but capitalism always tries to find a way to increase profits. And you know, no matter what, you know, so they're always going to outsource or find the cheapest labor or find the places that have the lowest cost of living. So you know, it's only a matter of time. This is why Vietnam is in a position right now to be to have the steepest incline of wealth over the next 10 years.
Yeah. I was
And it's
the other thing as well that's interesting about like the disparity between like what happens in Asia and what happens in Europe and North America is because of the regulation. So I was talking to some crypto friends about this the other day. Like a lot of the people I work with them and they're anonymous, and then we work anonymously in teams together. And I was saying to them, like, yeah, you know, like a lot of the work I get, like a lot of the people don't know who I am. They don't really care who I am. And they're like, found it really weird and found it really surprising because, see, in Asia, that doesn't really happen as much. A lot of people, like most people here, don't really work anonymously because they don't need to. Um,
right.
because, right, because for a lot of these projects, like they can operate here and the government's not going to come after them. They don't have to worry about the SEC going after them. Whereas people like,
Yeah.
to your point, like with the regulatory regulations in Europe, like, and the UK, a lot of these people are not happy with, like, I mean, they're not comfortable, like, you know, being like, you know, openly, you know, projecting their identity for a project that they're working on or they're working with, because of that fear of what the SEC may or may not do.
Yeah, they might come after them and say, "Oh, you guys are a security. Your whole team are committing securities fraud. We're going to go after you for billions."
Yeah, and it's like
You
if you're
know,
a small project, like what do you do in that situation? Like
that's
you
yeah,
can't,
that's
you
crazy,
don't
dude.
have the finances
No,
to fight against the SEC. And like even if you could fight for a small amount of time, you're gonna lose all your money. Like no matter what
yeah,
happens, you're not gonna be able to kind of,
yeah. Not everybody can throw the level of money that Ripple has thrown at the SEC's lawsuits against them.
it's
You
gonna
know, I
it's
mean, I don't. I would guarantee. I think they've spent millions. I mean,
yeah.
that's just. They might have spent tens of millions. You know, and I know, dude. I think I told you I know some pretty substantial people in the U.S. that pretty moneyed people. One of my mentors, he's about 80 years old now, but yeah, I remember he was fighting the government. I mean, he owed millions, dude, and you know, it was a very very big fight. And you know, he confided in me. It's like, you know, like Terrence, he said, man, you know, I had a law firm down, and this was in Texas. Texas is actually pretty cheap compared to the most of the Europe. But he was paying these guys like 450 an hour to represent him in federal court. And you know, these guys want huge retainers. I mean, not everybody can do that.
Yeah, exactly right. You
And
know,
you're
it's
talking about
interesting.
hundreds of hours of work at 450 an hour. I mean, come on, you
It's
know.
also interesting now, like we have that, like, you know, like you mentioned, like the Ripple case that kind of went in the favor of a lot of these crypto assets actually not being securities. Now you've got
Uh,
the Ethereum ETF being approved. And I don't know if you saw the news, but like recently as well, like 5 countries abandoned their CBDC programs that they were testing.
well, you know, there's about 97, I think 97% of the countries in one survey I was looking at, I guess there's about 97 countries, 97% of the countries are going to do some form of CBDC.
Yeah.
So it's coming, you know, it's
But no,
coming. It's just a matter.
but
But
did
what'd
you
you say?
see but did you see the news recently? The news is that like some of these countries have actually abandoned their CBDC programs. So there's
Okay.
there's 5 of them. So Denmark, Japan, Ecuador, Finland. And I think I saw another list. There was another 2 more as well. So, you
Mm.
know, a lot of this stuff that's happening now is actually the tide's shifting. You know, it feels like there's a bit of momentum shifting away from these CBDCs, and I think I'm not fully on top of it, but I thought I saw something. I don't know if you guys know much more about this, but I did see something about even the US government where like they were looking at passing a bill through the Senate that was going to basically stop the CBDC from rolling out. But I don't know if I think it has a very low chance of getting through, but there's a bit of movement to kind of stop these things that's starting to swell.
I'm excited that they cracked down. The Congress has cracked down on the SEC. I mean, they passed some legislation last week to kind of roll back the regulatory enforcement mechanism that they were doing. I mean, they've been regulating by enforcement, which is not a good way to regulate. They have to have some sort of clear guidelines for people to follow, so that
Absolutely.
they're not, they're playing, they're playing gotcha with crypto companies, and that's not the way to do business. I mean, they're not doing anything but stifling growth, and they passed a bill like 2 days ago that basically is giving the green light to a lot of crypto in America. I think it was FIT 21 that passed in America, which is this bill is very pro crypto. So yeah, and it actually gives some sort of regulatory clarity. So that, because what they were saying is that a lot of financial institutions couldn't hold on to crypto as a digital asset, and so the FIT 21 basically is giving regulatory clarity. And I don't know if I don't think Biden is for this, but at the same time, I don't think he said he's going to veto this. So this is actually a really good bill that's going to bypass a lot of the crap that the SEC has been doing in the U.S. and stifling. They're not doing anything but stifling innovation and growth in the U.S.
You know,
So, as much as they try to cater toward the big banks, they're not going to do nothing but cut the economy, because everybody's going to Singapore to register. You said Malta for European companies, and
Seychelles in
yeah,
America.
Seychelles,
Yeah.
whatever island, they're going to be like, whatever, come get us. And a lot of the crypto people are going to be in places like we're in Vietnam.
The exciting thing about all of this is that it's really, it's funny how like the stars just align. Like, like I remember like 2020, we had the COVID dump, and then all of a sudden it was just like, all these governments just put monetary policies in place, and like the reserve banks like put all these money, like they put these monetary and fiscal policies in place that basically just allowed asset prices to just inflate massively, doing something that they've never done throughout history. And I remember after the March dump, I was like fully invested in crypto. So like, my net worth disappeared like 40 to 60% overnight during that time, which was like pretty hectic to go through that. And then also have the threat of like, oh shit, like I don't know if I'm going to be able to like what's the work environment going to be like? Remember there were all the massive layoffs and stuff. So I was like, well, what's going to happen? And I was like, oh, I've been waiting for like 2 years. I went through this entire bear market and the bull market's canceled. And I remember like having that thought like in the middle of the year, July 2020, and then all of a sudden, like just the market was quiet for a while, and the stock market started pumping on the back of all that stimulus that was being pumped into the economies, while everything was basically at a standstill and we were all in lockdowns. And then all of a sudden, November, Bitcoin hits new all-time highs, and like you could feel like, all right, the bull market's on, the bull market's coming, and then the market just went crazy. And it feels like we're almost set up almost in the exact same way again with different macro conditions, but like, you know, we had the halving, we had Bitcoin pumping into it, we had, you know, we had some bullish stuff happening because we've had the Ethereum ETF now, the Bitcoin ETF before, and then on top of that, you know, we have this macro uncertainty about war and, you know, inflation, you know, kind of being out of control, but then the numbers have been adjusted to sound good. We now have like all this regulatory approval happening with crypto, and it's like, you know, this is the recipe for like the perfect storm. All we need is just like a couple of rate cuts, and the market's just going to full send it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think we're gonna be at about at least I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna give my mild predictions. We're gonna probably in about 12 to 18 months, we're probably gonna be at about 150,000 Bitcoin and about 12 to 14,000 Ethereum. That's just my mild estimates, but I think Ethereum's going to hit 18,000. That's my upper level prediction.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to wait too long, like you said. You waited too long last time, and you know, everything just started going to crap like in November 2021. I think I'm gonna start pulling out some of the Ethereum, you know, at least putting it down to stable coins before that time. And, you know, now that I have a little bit more insight on how all the macroeconomic things affect the market, I'm not going to sit there and just hold my hat and hold my breath and think that there's going to be some sort of blow off top, because that's the mistake I made last time. And that was my first bull cycle. You know, of course, you've been through another one beside me. But we got about 9 minutes. Did you want to talk about, I think you wanted to talk about the upcoming event in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So we've got, you know, one of the bigger crypto conferences that happens in Vietnam is the GM Vietnam conference. A lot of big sponsors usually get involved. You know, you got, you know, the usual Aptos, Solana, you know, CKC, Coin98. You know, some big Vietnamese companies. So there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. Like what are you guys excited about? I think there's a hackathon.
Yeah, are you coming
like
down? Are you coming down from? Yeah, are you coming down from Hanoi to join us down here, Lilac, for the GM Vietnam?
Yeah, I might come there and we'll stay there for around 2 weeks more.
Oh, you got.
Yeah,
Oh, so you coming before and after the party, huh?
yeah,
We're gonna do the
have
after
to come to
party.
before after party. Have to.
And they're gonna have the yacht party. You're gonna go do the yacht party?
Really?
Yeah, they're
We'll
gonna have
have
the
a job
yacht.
party?
Yeah, they're gonna have the yacht party. They have
Okay,
the
that'll be
yacht.
my first time to join GM
Yeah,
Vietnam.
they have the yacht event. I think actually the yacht thing is gonna be with is it with the
Deepin.
Solana?
Deepin.
Deepin. Okay, Deepin. That's a Deepin, but which project though?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. Yeah, there's so many side
Oh
events.
man, there's so many events. I just got one notification. Of course, I'm on a lot of lists here, but yeah, I've got one that they're going to have a technology party that's going to go to 1 a.m. Solana, they got some sort of event at one of the clubs that there's so many after parties. I love it, man. After parties, side events. I think we've got about 3 or 4 personal invites.
Yeah, and when will you join hackathon as well? No, not the one.
I told him he's got less than 2 weeks. He should be able to do it. He was telling the story last week. I made him tell the story of how he got in the hackathon and he beat like 14 teams by himself in like 2 weeks.
I think this year I might not. I've got too much stuff on at the moment, so I don't really have time to carve out for it. Otherwise, it would be good. It was like that. Yeah, I think it's like 160 grand worth of prizes they have. I'm not
Oh
sure
my
exactly
gosh, dude.
what that's involved in that, but that's quite a fair bit. I think last year it was like a quarter of that. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty smooth. He came in like a week and a half and just got won the hackathon. I think you got like 3 grand for that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was 3 grand. Yeah,
Oh
so
my
it was a
gosh,
nice
dude.
little It was a
Nice little
nice,
spiff there.
yeah, well, it worked out quite nicely. That was my first hackathon. So
Wow.
I've entered 2 hackathons so far, and my teams have won both of them. So
Man,
yeah, 2 out of 2.
you're batting 100, man. 100%, man. That's
Quit.
incredible.
That's why I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead.
Oh, that's the time for you to start opening it up there. Let's see. They got the phenomenal builders of GM Luma. Got that invite here earlier. I think my buddy Min, he's in Bangkok. I think he's coming down for that one. Well, there's so many events for GM Vietnam. I got the whole spreadsheet here. Did you guys
Yeah.
get the spreadsheet? You got the spreadsheet, didn't you?
Yeah. I've signed
I
up for
can't
some. I haven't signed up for all of them yet.
I mean, look at this. They got the GM Vietnam after party, the official after party. I think I was kind of disappointed because I signed up about 2 weeks ago and I got the free tickets, but as you said, you were trying to get the professional tickets so that you can get on all the side events for the VIPs, and they were sold out.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. I don't know whether they like released less tickets this year or something, or like what the goal was, but
Yeah, there were 700. I remember Kelly told us there was like 700 total. And they were gone last week already.
we should have been on top of it. But yeah, anyway, like most of the people I know that are going, like they didn't get like the VIP tickets. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that like won't be going to like the main VIP party and will be going to a bunch of the other side events.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going to. We got Sui on the 7th. They got some sort of showcase. They got a Vietnam Rust hackathon. That's on the 8th. Dude, they got stuff starting on the 1st.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
Dora,
from the first.
of
That's
course, the
crazy
people at
early.
Dora,
Yeah, because
Dora hack. Dora, the group Dora hackers.
yeah, because the actual conference is the 7th and the 8th,
Paul and
right?
Vic, they're probably gonna be hosted. Paul and Vic, those guys. Let's see. Kanga's coming back here. They're gonna be here on the 5th. Dude, they've got stuff that's instead of the 7th, 8th, and 9th, they got stuff all the way on the 1st this year. So they've actually expanded GM Vietnam to like a week-long event. I see why you're gonna be down here for 2 weeks then, Lilac. There's stuff going on all the way to the 1st. So you're gonna be down here in a few days then, right?
Yeah. Too tired for events now.
All right. Well, you are the crypto queen, though. You got it. You're the crypto
Event is
queen.
exhausting.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at these events, and man, you can't. There's no way you can do all of these in one day. I mean, I'm looking at the one for the schedule for Friday, and there's stuff. There's like 5 or 6 things in each time slot. It seems like from
Yeah, you have no idea.
lunches and breakfasts. They got happy hour with Solana. They got Avalanche. They got Kanga. They got Aptos. They got Gate. They have all these VC parties. Oh my gosh, this is just crazy. Jupiter Cadet Meetup. The future of technology. I think I'm gonna do that one. That's the after party that night on the 7th.
Oh yeah, that should be good. I'm keen for this yacht party. That should be a good one.
Well, that's if we get an invite, man. I think that we have to have a project that we have to be a VC to get on that yacht, man. I tried to sign up and I got rejected. So
they haven't looked at my
they haven't looked at your application
not yet.
Okay. Maybe I gotta talk to somebody. There's so many things, man. If I can't get invited to that one, I'll go to something else. Trust me. There's like 5 different things for every time slot, it looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
But any final thoughts, Lilac? Since you're gonna be down here next week, what's your thoughts here? What's going on?
I think I will be busy as hell.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably catch
Everyone
up.
want bits of lilac.
Gonna do what?
Everyone want a bit of lilac.
Yes. Well, you're the crypto queen. That's why.
Too
Oh, yeah,
busy,
we
too
gotta-
busy.
Too busy, too busy. Well, we're gonna have a lot of shooting. We're shooting a lot of events, shooting a lot of different interviews, little short interviews, video shorts and whatnot next week. But yeah, I think that's about it. We got about what, 1 minute less?
Yeah, less than a minute. I think so. Yeah, it should be good. We've got a lot coming up, a lot of exciting things. We've got another interview coming up on Monday as well, so stay
Okay.
tuned for that. We're going to be rolling out a bunch of interviews over the coming weeks. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in again.
It's an
And
exciting.
we'll see you next week at GM Vietnam. We'll have a lot of events starting on the 1st. We're going to get a piece of lilac, put her on the internet for you guys.
See you guys.
So
See you.
have a good weekend.